Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Drain to Happiness. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So as you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking about the most toxic job I have ever worked in my life. And also, I'm sorry about the lighting. I'm gonna work on getting some better lighting. But anyway, I'm probably gonna make, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make a part 2 and a part 3 to this, because I think I have a lot to say. Too much to be covered in one video. So yeah, and I'm gonna start by saying, first of all, I worked this job when I was like 18, 19 years old. Even though legally I was an adult, I was very much young. And that version of myself, years and years ago, I used to let people at jobs walk all over me, talk to me any kind of way. Honestly, I was just so excited to have a job. I didn't really realize, this might sound dumb to y'all, but I didn't realize, like, oh wait, I can take up for myself. Even if it's the manager or whoever, I can take up for myself. I don't always have to say yes just because I'm at a job. I didn't have that mindset. I just had the mindset of not wanting to make anybody angry at me, especially like anybody that's above me, like a manager or whoever, and wanting to keep my job and make money. I didn't realize at the time, first of all, with being a CNA, you're never going to go jobless unless you do something to mess up your certification. You're never going to go jobless. You could easily find a job like that, because at the end of the day, we're in high, and excuse me, something's in my eye. We're in high demand. But I wasn't thinking like that. I was just thinking, I don't want to get in trouble with my job. And basically, I was a real big people pleaser. But this was when I was 18 years old. I didn't know no better. So yeah, because I know some of the things that I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't know if I'm gonna get to that in this part or part 2 or 3, but some of the things I'm gonna tell y'all, I know y'all probably gonna be like, what? Girl, you let them talk to you like that? You let them do this to you? You let them treat you like this? Young and dumb, y'all. Young and dumb. If a job tried that stuff with me now, they wouldn't make it. No. That I wouldn't. I want, just to let y'all know, I would not tolerate any of that shit they put me through. This version of myself wouldn't. And what else did I want to say? Oh, so I'm not going to be using fake names. I worked at this job 10 years ago. And I'm not going to be using fake names. One, the people that treated me so poorly, I don't think they deserve, I don't really have no respect for them to hide their names. Two, most people that worked there back then, their names are pretty common, so I don't think anybody's going to figure out who they were, you know, unless one of them just came across this video. And this was 10 years ago, which I don't care, because everything I'm saying is true. And 3, I'm on 3 or 4. Oh, done forgot already. Well, point 3, I'm just gonna say 3. Point 3 is, I'm gonna say allegedly. Dang, can I pronounce that word right? Every time I get on camera, I find a new word I cannot pronounce. Allegedly. What is wrong with me? Just forget it. But anyway, allegedly. There we go. Allegedly. Oh my God. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. The only reason I'm going to say that is because basically nowadays, with how the internet is so freaking sensitive, you have to say that every 5 minutes to make sure nobody's feelings gets hurt or somebody doesn't try to sue you, which everything that I'm talking about is real. Okay, so now that I got all of that out of the way, let's get into this job. So this place, I worked here 3 years on night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. It's supposed to be a assisted living job. I mean, assisted living place, but they really not assisted living. There was people there that I had to lift up and stuff like that. It's not assisted living. So, but they had 2 different sides. They had well, they called it the assisted living side, but like I said, they had a few people over there that you literally had to lift them. They couldn't walk one bit with a walker or anything. They couldn't even use a wheelchair. They couldn't, like wheel themselves. But there was no lifts. They don't have Hoyer lifts or anything like that because it's supposed to be assisted living. But if it takes 2 CNAs, not one, but if it takes 2 CNAs to lift a woman out the bed to get her in her chair, that's not assisted living. She's fully dependent. But anyway, and it also had another side. They had the memory care side, and then they called it the assisted living side. They did have a lot of people there that could walk with walkers and stuff like that. But yeah, so I was excited or whatever. I started off PRN, and then full time came open. This was a big mistake, and I wanted to be full time just because I wanted to make more money. I always been the type ever since I was out of high school. I always liked to make my own money. I started my first job when I was 17. I graduated high school when I was 17 at Hardee's. I worked there. That's a fast food restaurant for y'all that don't know. I worked there for I think 6 months while I was taking my CNA class, and then I got a job at a nursing home, one of the least rated nursing homes in town. Worked there for 6 months. Then that's when I got the job at the assisted living place. So I wrote some stuff down. So why this was a toxic work environment? Where do I start? First shift bullies. Basically at this place, first shift, they got to do whatever the fuck they wanted. They got away with murder. Like, they could show up late, and it was a lot of young girls. It was a few older ladies too in their 40s and stuff, but it was a lot of really young girls that's just out of high school or in their early 20s. And it was just like a high school, like literally, it was like a Mean Girls type of situation with first shift. And they were really big bullies to people that were quiet. And guess who's quiet? So yeah, like for instance, let me give y'all an example. One time they came up with this rule, the management, saying that we cannot be even 1 minute late. And if we're 1 minute, and I'm not over exaggerating, like I'm at all. If we're 1 minute late, we will get wrote up. If we're 1 minute late. So I think I was always on time, except for a couple times I forgot what happened. And I got wrote up, y'all. I seriously got wrote up. And thinking back at it now, if I was the person that I am now, then I wouldn't sign no write-up paper for being late for 1 minute. Like, I think one time I was late for literally 2 minutes. I'm supposed to be there at 11. I got there at 11:02. And the management, they really stressed on the med tech, because here they didn't have nurses. They had med techs. They only had one nurse, but she worked in the office like 9 to 5. But as far as actually giving out medicine and working directly with the CNAs, we had med techs, and they were in charge. And yeah, med tech wrote me up for being late for 1 minute, right? But first shift, sometimes they would be 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late. Nobody bats an eye. Nobody says anything. I remember one time, because at this place, they do not play. You cannot leave until your relief is there. Nowadays, at nursing homes and stuff, CNAs just leave. Like, we ain't waiting on you, honey. We did our 8 hours, okay? We gone. If you're not here on time, that's on you. But back then at this place, like, you would get in big trouble. I don't think anybody ever left without their relief coming first. Because if you were to do that, like, it was very serious. Like, you would get in trouble. Even if they are an hour late, you cannot leave until your relief is there, right? So first shift, especially on the weekends, they came in there when they fucking felt like it. And the supervisors, they call it the med techs, they call them the SIC, that stands for supervisor in charge. So the first shift med techs would never write them up. I remember Morgan, she was a med tech. She was like, they had a clique. I'm sorry if I'm talking all over the place, but basically they had a clique. It was Morgan, Chelsea, Kedrick. She was the only black girl. No, well, I would say Tamika, but they weren't in the clique as deep as Morgan. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you who was in that little clique. Morgan, Chelsea. Morgan was a med tech. Chelsea was a CNA, and these are all first shift people. But then she became a med tech. Danielle, Sabrina, who else? Tamika. I'm gonna have to make a whole video about Tamika, y'all. Who else? You could say Linda too. Now Linda was the only one of the only older ladies. I think she was in like her early or mid 40s. Who else? I may be forgetting somebody, but all of these girls besides Linda were in their very early 20s. Like some of them might not even been 20 yet. And basically they were really, I didn't notice at the time until I started working it for a while, but one of the reasons they got away with so much is because they all were friends with Rita, allegedly on all of this. Rita is what you call, she was what you call the memory care manager. So she does the hiring. She has the power to fire people. She's like the head chick in charge over the med tech scene, over everybody except besides the administrator. Now the administrator, she has like, you know, she's over the whole building. She's the big boss. But Rita was the memory care manager. So you have the administrator, and right behind the administrator, you have Rita, the memory care manager. And you know the crazy thing is, y'all, I assumed that Rita was a nurse. And you had two managers, by the way. You had one manager for the assisted living side, and you had another manager for the they call it a memory care side. People that got dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff. I forgot the other manager's name. I don't remember her. But yeah, I assumed, you know, to have that kind of power in a assisted living place, you would have to be a nurse. But I found out Rita's not even a nurse. She's just a med tech. So basically, I didn't know, y'all, you don't have to have that kind of position. You don't even have to be a nurse. All you have to do is be a med tech for like a certain amount of time and have the experience, and you can become like a memory care manager. And for those of y'all don't know, think of like a DON in a nursing home. Rita was pretty much the DON of the assisted living place, except for she's not a nurse. She's just a med tech that has a lot of experience, which I thought that was kind of crazy. You think, you know, they would want a nurse to have that kind of position, but whatever. So back to what I was saying. There was a lot of times at this place they do, you know, what you call a round check, where whoever's going to come in to take over your assignment, they check on your assignment, make sure everybody okay, then you can leave. So at this place with first shift, they were never satisfied. I would do my round. You're supposed to check people every 2 hours. That's what I did, right? Starting at 5 o'clock. And I had to start at 5 because at this place, third shift had to get up a lot of people too. We had a lot of people who had to get up and dress for first shift. That's another thing. And especially like Tamika, the main bad ones was Tamika and Linda. She would just come in on first. She would talk to me any kind of way. I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that young woman. I was about to say something. I'm gonna make a whole separate video about her. But yeah, first shift was just very disrespectful to me. Like, we would do a round, and if a patient, I just got done with my round, right? If a patient or resident, I'm gonna say resident, was just even like, and I promise you, I'm not over exaggerating. If they were just this wet, literally, first shift will be like, Morgan or whoever would be like, oh no, you got to change them. They're wet. Like, really? This is what we doing? And if I try to even say anything, even if I say it in the nicest way, like, well, there will be a patient that I literally just changed them 5 minutes before first shift came. Like, literally. The first shift comes in, Danielle or whoever said, well, Danielle wasn't that bad, but Sabrina, they would check them, be like, oh, they're wet. And literally they have like this much pee on them. And I just changed them 5 minutes ago. And if I were to say anything against it or disagree, like I just changed this lady 5 minutes ago, you know, I can't help if she just peed a little bit. That's a little crazy to change her again. And they would go right to the med tech, Morgan or whoever the med tech was on first shift. And they'd be, no, you got to change her. Da, 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 da. So basically, first shift wanted every person to be bone dry. When they came in, they wanted everything just to be perfect, you know. And I understand that some places, you know, third shift might get a few people up because, you know, generally first shift is a lot busy, you know, a busy shift, right? Let me tell y'all something. They kept adding people to the get up list. They just kept on adding people and adding people and adding people to the point where I'm getting up damn near my whole assignment. And let me tell y'all about this. And then I'm gonna go because this video is getting long. Yeah, I'm probably gonna make it part 2, 3, 4 because I got so much to say about this place. I remember one time me and Linda was doing a round, right? So it was about time for me to go. And Linda, and she's one of them ones, she was a bitch. I'm just gonna say it, she was a bitch. And she was checking behind my side, and she was one of them ones, she wanted everything to be perfect. Everything. If your assignment wasn't 100% perfect, she gonna come after you and talk. She was very disrespectful, just the way she said it. So there was this one lady, she was not on my get up list. So technically I did not have to get her up. My only job is to make sure she's changed, right? So sometimes we would go ahead and get this lady up. We're going to call, this lady is dead by now, she's dead, but we're going to call her Medea. I'm just going to call her Medea. She was kind of difficult to deal with. She could not talk. She couldn't say real words, but she would mumble and stuff. And you would basically kind of have to fight with her to do anything to her. You're not literally, I'm not saying literally fight, but you would have to, like, it was a hard time trying to do patient care on her. She was just really difficult. Lots of times it took 2 people because she was that difficult. And she couldn't stand or nothing. You had to lift her and stuff. So I think she was really wet my last round. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and wash her up and get her up. Maybe that'll make Linda happy. That's what I was thinking too. Like, let me make her happy. Now keep in mind, y'all, I didn't have to get this lady up because she was not on my get up list. And some people probably wouldn't have got her up because she's difficult to deal with. So I went ahead and got her up, got her hair brushed. Now, let me tell you something. At this place, they were also strict about what time you clocked out because they didn't want to pay you a penny more than they have to. So they wanted third shift clocked out by 7:05, I believe, something like that. And if you don't clock out by 7:05, they will call your ass. I'm not over exaggerating, y'all. One time they called the administrator called me on my night off saying, Joanna, why did you clock out at 7:07? Remember, we want y'all to clock out by no later than 5:05. Y'all, I'm not lying, I swear. I'm gonna get into that anyway. So I'm seeing what time it was. I think it was like 7:02. I already got Medea dressed, washed up, her hair tied back. The only, and she had gripper socks on. The only thing I didn't do was put her shoes on. And the reason why I didn't put her shoes on, because I know she was going to fight with me to put her shoes on because she didn't like that. And I would have been clocked out late. So that's the only reason. Her bed's made up everything. Me and Linda walking, doing our round, and said, oh yeah, and I got Mabel up for you. Now you would think, because like I said, everybody knows Medea is a hard resident to deal with. Sometimes she takes 2 CNAs to get her up and stuff because she's just hard to deal with. She resists care, basically. So you would think, you know, I done got up your hardest resident, so you don't have to deal with her. You would think she'd be grateful. Oh, thank you. Now, thank you, whatever. Can y'all believe Linda had the nerve to say, look at her, point at her feet and say, well, you ain't put her shoes on. You didn't put her shoes on. Bitch. Do y'all think I got Medea up again after that? Hell no. Like, this woman is fully dressed. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video now. And I'm sure there's gonna be at least part 4 Cause like I said, there's so in the other videos, I'm gonna tell y'all different situations that happen. That way, I'm not just rambling on and on and on and on about the job. I want to just give y'all situations to happen at this job, so y'all can understand why this job is so toxic. So yeah, but yeah, Linda fussed at me because I didn't put her shoes on. Like, and that's just giving y'all an idea of how first shift they literally was bullies at this job to me, like bullies at the workplace. Like, I done got up your hardest freaking patient that nobody really wants to deal with because she's just so hard, and you complaining that I didn't put her shoes on. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stories about this place. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all the next time.